Saying no to your parents is one of the hardest financial things that we don't really talk about as Indians. Just last week, I had one of those client meetings that really stuck with me. It was with a young couple who had just gotten married about a year ago. They were sitting across from me and I could feel the tension in the room. Both their parents were constantly asking them the same question. When will you finally settle down and buy a house? But the thing was, this couple did not want to buy a house right now. They were 30 years old and immediately they wanted to travel the world. They also had plans to start a business in the next 2 to 3 years and also build some savings first. They were earning well, around 50 lakhs combined annually, and even both sides of the family already owned 2 houses each. They asked me a simple question. So then, how do we handle this? And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about this one couple. There are lakhs of young Indians silently suffocating under well-meaning but financially outdated parental pressure. Now before we start, this is not a video about disrespecting your parents. In fact, I'm here to say the opposite. Our parents have given up more than we'll ever know. But sometimes, that same love can unintentionally trap us. The most important point is that our parents want us to be genuinely happy, secure and safe. That's why they give us advice, and that creates a problem when you don't necessarily agree with it. Now the only way to truly respect and love our parents is to actually not blindly follow every single advice or decision they want us to make, but it's to become genuinely happy because that's what they actually want for us, right? But at times, the means and the methods that they are suggesting for us to be happy might just not work and be outdated. However, remember the end goal is always happiness and security for us. So today I want to unpack what's really going on here by diving into how parental pressure unknowingly impacts your finances, the 3 psychological factors driving that, and more importantly, how you can break free and do what you want without breaking your parents' hearts. Let's go. Also, I'm going to do something at the end of this video that I have never done on my channel. I'm going to sit down with my mother on camera and talk about this right at the end, unfiltered and raw. So here's a reality check that might shock you. According to a LinkedIn survey, 82% of Indian parents openly admit they actively decide their child's career path. At IIT Kharagpur, 85% of freshers directly blame parental pressure for anxiety around internships and job placements. Let's get to the reasons. The first is filial obligation. This is the debt that does not exist. Almost every Indian child has felt this at some point. They feel like our parents have sacrificed everything for me. How can I say no to them, or how can I not listen to them? But here's the truth. Parental love is not a loan that comes with an interest. It's a gift. You don't repay it by buying the flat they want or taking the job they prefer or marrying the person they want you to marry. You repay it by truly being fulfilled in your life, being healthy and financially secure. The problem is that sense of duty gets tangled with money and following their advice. The house that you buy becomes the proof of your love. Your salary needs their validation. Your choices become a loyalty test. And often, even if your parents never say anything, you feel guilty for not following their script. But sometimes they do actually say something. I'm sharing another client conversation I had. This was a woman in her 30s and she had bought her first house, a 1 BHK, with her own savings. And she had followed all the right financial principles here and she was happy with that purchase. When I asked her if her parents had seen it, she smiled and said, yes, they have. They said they were proud. But they also said that I could have bought a 2 BHK or 3 BHK house instead. I could see it in her eyes, that invisible weight that was pulling her down, that just made her feel not so good. If you want to apply what I share here on YouTube to your own life and investing, check out my program, The Complete Guide to Mutual Fund Investing. It has all my years of experience of being licensed in Indian financial services since 2015. In it, I've covered topics like how you can select mutual funds to invest in, how to build your mutual fund portfolio, a much deeper dive than this particular video, what is an SWP and how to plan for your various goals. among other topics as well. The guide also has Excel tools like this one, where you just enter the goal that you have, the money that you require for it, and it automatically tells you, factoring in inflation, how much you need to invest per month from now onwards and which mutual funds to go for to save for that goal. Once you sign up for the guide, you'll also be part of our monthly live Q&A sessions where I answer all your doubts. To check out the program, go to the first link in the description and the pinned comment. And factor number 2 here is the reason parents stick to the same old financial advice. It's a mental shortcut psychologists call the availability heuristic. Our brains give more weight to information that's easily accessible and recalled. For our parents, the most available evidence of success comes from their generation. Government jobs, real estate, and so-called playing it safe. They did not see people get rich off YouTube or by investing in index funds. They never met anyone who turned an idea into a startup. Their advice isn't the best advice. It's just the most available advice in their mental library. So when they tell you to settle down or do something that they want, they genuinely think that they're trying to protect you. They genuinely believe they know better, and maybe they did. But in 1995, not right now. You have to understand that your parents probably grew up in scarcity, where one wrong decision essentially meant poverty or absolute financial ruin. But now, because of their choices, they have helped you have a much more stable foundation. So now, because of that foundation, you are in a position to jump higher, which is directly against what your parents want, because they got to that place by doing and following the so-called safer options. They don't see that the safest path in their time might actually be the riskiest in our generation. Today, having one job is far riskier than having 3 income streams. Buying an overpriced flat at the age of 30 can kill your startup dreams. And thanks to AI and tech disruption, the idea of job security is already on life support right now. Then the third factor is what psychologists call social comparison theory. And yes, the Sharma-ji ka beta effect is a real psychological principle. We are all hardwired to evaluate ourselves by looking at others. But here's the twist. Your parents aren't just comparing you to others, they're also comparing themselves as parents to other parents. So many parents keep saying the same things, right? That uncle's son earns now 50 lakhs per year. Your cousin already has a house. Look at your flatmate or classmate. They are now settled in the US. But remember, your parents here, like I said, aren't just comparing you to others. They're also comparing themselves as parents and evaluating themselves as parents. When Sharma-ji's son buys a car, it's not really about the car. It's about Sharma-ji himself being seen as a successful parent. Then your parents use what's called upward comparison. That's constantly comparing against those doing better to set benchmarks for you. They don't realize that they're transferring their own social anxiety onto your financial decisions. Now, at times I've noticed around me that parents view their children's life as their second chance. Your success validates their sacrifices. Your failure questions their entire life's work. And it may not always be for all these reasons, right? It could be a combination of them or even just one of them. Now, let's talk about what this pressure does to you. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck found that children with controlling parents often develop a fixed mindset. They believe abilities are static. They can't grow. They can't change. And failure means disappointing the family. It validates your neighbor's gossip and it proves your relatives right. This creates learned helplessness. You stop trying because every decision will be compared to someone else's kids anyway. Every choice will be filtered through your parents' available heuristic. Every dream will be crushed by their scarcity fears. And that's how the cycle continues until you break it. Now, I'll be honest here. I've been incredibly lucky in this regard. My parents potentially had the same fears, but they chose to trust me more than they trusted those fears. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be doing what I love. I wouldn't be here talking to you. And I know how rare that is. So here's my promise. If your parents don't trust your decisions yet, trust yourself. I know it's hard, but that's the only choice. You can build the life you want and still love and respect them. That's completely okay. The two can coexist. In fact, that's the whole point, right? The best way to honor your parents is to become the happiest, most fulfilled version of yourself. So how can you realistically break the loop? I'm introducing the Freedom Playbook that has 5 actionable steps. Firstly, start your autonomy or freedom fund. Save aggressively. Even if you can do 5 to 10,000 per month, go for it. This is not for retirement, but this is for your independence. Next, aim for micro independence milestones. This means paying your own phone bills if you don't already, buying your own health insurance, building a 6 to 12 month rent buffer, and potentially moving into your own place even if it's tiny. Fund at least one so-called risky skill course that interests you without asking for permission. And this is again built through the money that you have saved up, so you don't need to be answerable to anyone but yourself. This isn't about disrespect. It's about showing to your parents that you are responsible and, more importantly, proving to yourself that you have the ability to take responsibility. Next, communicate, do not confront. Instead of telling your parents you are wrong, say, I understand where you're coming from. The goal here is not to fight. It's to communicate to them that you actually understand what they're trying to say and their concerns, and you're taking those into account and you're making an informed decision. Which brings me to step number 3, show results. If you want to start a business, build a side income first. If you want to potentially delay your marriage, show you're building stability. Let your life be the answer. Remember what I said earlier about how your parents are doing things based on what is available in their mental library? Now you want to start adding evidence to that same library by showing them your wins. And yes, all of this will take time. It's rarely going to change in 1 week, 1 month, or even 1 year. But with every passing day, the more they see you become A, the version of yourself who's becoming happy, and B, you're actually doing well for yourself, the more in tune they would be with you and your endeavors. Then comes step number 4, involve potentially a third-party validator. This could be a certified financial planner, a respected mentor, even older cousins or other family members if required. Essentially someone they trust and respect. Sometimes parents need to hear your strategy explained neutrally by someone else for them to genuinely understand it. And finally, step number 5, actually renegotiate the definition of what it is to be a good child. Focus on well-being, growth, and stability. Define measurable milestones, right? Adequate sleep, upskilling, and financial buffers. And then celebrate these achievements openly with your parents. They will stack up over time. And then they'll actually start to see the tangible benefits and wins out of all these habits that you're building. And if you ever feel like you're alone, like they don't back you, just come back and watch this video. Let this be the source of your power, of your energy, and for you to be able to do what you want to do. I wish you the best. And now let's hear it from me and my mother. So now for the first time on my YouTube channel, I have my mother, Ma. So,
yes, tell me.
This video is about how a lot of children, not just young kids but also older children, face a lot of parental pressure when it comes to the life choices they make, what they're doing, the career they choose. One thing I've noticed with how you have raised me, right, is I've always sensed a deep level of trust in what I'm doing. And you have obviously guided me, have had hard conversations at different times, but it's always been very hands-off, where you guided me but then sort of stepped away and allowed me to do what I was doing, which I think has played a huge role in just how I have done things, what I have done. And that is something I wanted to get your opinion, right? Because as a parent, I know that is not the norm. Because when I look around, there are people, children who are pressurized by their parents from a good intention. They don't mean to pressurize. But so how did you approach this entire situation of raising me, letting me be?
Actually, this came very naturally. I didn't put in any efforts as such. whenever I felt that something is going wrong, I believed in the conversation, whatever we discussed the problems. But then there was I don't know, it just came naturally to me, and I didn't see what other parents were doing, or I didn't compare anybody. It was just my relationship with my child and how I want to protect his interest, his likings, and at the same time I felt that first of all, you don't have to be, you shouldn't be guiding your child so much at every step. We have to respect that he is an individual, whether a small child or a young boy or a middle-aged man. You just have to know that he is an individual entity who has his likings, and he shouldn't be guided every time. When there is a toddler, what we do, we usually take care of, we let him play. But when there is some, we feel that he is in danger or something, we will go and protect that child. We'll go ahead and take care of the child. The same way it happens with the elderly children also. You let them have their own space, let them explore their interest, give them time. At the same time, they might make mistakes. Accept those mistakes gracefully. Don't pinpoint the mistakes. Just let them go with the flow. That is the main thing. And if you just follow this, I think it will be a beautiful journey, and there won't be any problems. Of course, if you feel that the child is not doing something correct, you can have a little conversation. You can tell your child what your views are on that matter. But at the same time, you should give him space. If he selects what you are saying, fine. Otherwise, still respect what he is doing otherwise.
But is it difficult as a parent where, let's say, you are suggesting me something and I do something else? So how do you deal with that? What are your thoughts at that time?
Then that time I try to think from your point of view. And if I feel that this is what he likes, this is what he wants to do, then I have to support him in that. Unless you are doing something very extreme, I don't think I'll ever stop you from doing what you like. Because ultimately it's your life. And I cannot have control on anybody's life, not even my children. I have to make sure that they grow as individual personalities. And I like that more than molding them as per my wishes. And I think it's not possible. Even if you try it, for some time it will happen, then the children will become very aggressive. And you don't want that with your children. You want to have a very cordial, friendly relationship till the end. So it's always better to try to understand them, give them space. If you feel that something is not correct as per your understanding, you should have an open discussion. And also, you should see that they grow as individuals.
Yeah. What would you though recommend someone, because not all parents have the same outlook, right? So if a child is facing this challenge where what they want and what their parents want for them, they are two different things. And how do you think the child should approach the situation?
I think sometimes, a child can try to make them understand his point of view, and also as parents also we should try to understand what really will make our child happy. Ultimately what counts is the happiness of your child. Every parent will want that. No parent will feel that child should be unhappy. So everybody has a different way, different approach of working on it. But sometimes we forget that we have to give them some freedom. Because unless and until you give them freedom, how will they grow? They will always be under your shadow, and which will not help them to succeed so much. Because they will always have a pressure of what you're thinking. Because see, as an individual, would you like somebody to keep a watch on you every time? Like it's always better, like you get some free time. Then nobody should be watching you. You should be on your own. So that's what a child also wants. And I think we should give them that space.
So all right, thank you Ma for coming on the channel, and also for through all these years, right, just letting me be, letting me explore myself, express myself, and guiding me, yes, but also from a position and a place that told me that you trusted me in what I was doing. And I don't think if that had not happened, I would have been able to concentrate on what I was doing, right? Because I would have then paid attention to 5 other things which would have taken away from the effort that I could put into everything that I have done. And they have been at times unconventional choices, right? So I can only imagine as a parent at times it would have been a little tricky to have that trust. But thank you for doing that.
Most welcome, myself.